All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me are the people that are super cool, and they let me rant about stuff that I don't like before we go live, and only very rarely will bring up the fact that Super Megaforce never mentioned that they were pirates. It was pirate themed. Hi, everybody.
Folks, we were talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, we were talking about Star Wars and Marvel a second ago.
You're lucky we're starting now.
Announcements. Big announcement from a YouTube channel. If anyone doesn't watch my YouTube stuff, something that is really popular on my YouTube channel is this RPG system called Essence 20. If you were here, not the most recent December, but the one before that, I actually ran a Power Rangers RPG that used Essence 20. A lot of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel involve the Essence 20 system. So I have I have started a brand new series on my channel called Essential Essence 20, where basically I break down roles and influences and aspects of Essence 20 to kind of explain the various kind of choices you have when you're using these things. It's basically an Essence 20 version of a series I used to do called D&D Deep Dive. The first episode is live. It went live on Monday, where I talk about the Black Ranger role from the Power Rangers RPG, and it has been very well received. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. I have timestamps and everything in there, so you don't have to watch it all in one sitting if you don't want to. But it's all basically, hey, this is the ability, and these are a bunch of different ways you can use that ability depending on how you want to play your character. So yeah, it's a series that I'm very proud about. And also it's Power Rangers right now. I will eventually be doing G.I. Joe and Transformers. But right now we're focusing on Power Rangers because it was the first, and I like Power Rangers. So, yeah, excited about that. Other announcements. Early access for Vecna Eva Vruin is live. Unless you purchase the early access after April 30th, which no longer gets you early access. And it has pissed off a large portion of the fan base, myself included. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast has gone dead silent about it. And the longer there is silence, the more worried I get. So, I don't know. Just out of happenstance, no one here got early access, did they? Because I sure as hell didn't.
I mean, I did
No.
buy Vecna when I did.
Did you
I
get the physical
pre-ordered it
digital?
after the 30th.
Yeah, same. Me too. I didn't have money before then. You didn't. Did you get the physical digital bundle before the cutoff?
I didn't get the physical digital bundle.
Oh, okay. Then you wouldn't have early access either. Damn it. I did. I went through because right now, because early access is live for people outside the U.S.
Vecna Eva Vruin, right? Yeah.
I clicked on the thing, and I did get to see the table of contents. Because I can't read the damn book, I just started looking up things that were mentioned in the table of contents.
When I click on anything, it takes me to the page to buy.
Yep, that's what happens to me. So I did go through the table of contents, and I've got some pretty good ideas about what some of the plot of the adventure is, and oh boy, if it wasn't for this fuck up, this might have become my favorite 5th edition adventure.
Yeah.
There's just so many cool things that they do, and so many references that they make to D&D. It is 100% a love letter to Dungeons and Dragons, and a swan song to 5th edition. And they just fucked this up because of this stupid... If they had delayed implementing this new store until the end of May instead of the end of April, none of this shit would be going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if you've got early access to Vecna, I greatly envy you, and I hope it's as cool as it seems. In addition, Wizards of the Coast have announced that once the 3 new 5.5 books come out, um, all of the new rules and everything will be going into the SRD 5.2, which will again be released under Creative Commons. So it won't happen until I think it's like February of 2025 because it takes that long to get those 3 books
I
out.
believe it was also stated it was delayed also because of layoffs. Because
That's
yeah.
the interview that I read. They specifically asked, "Well, why is it taking so long?" It's because the 5.2 SRD is going to have bits from each one of the books, and the last book doesn't release until February of 2025. The Monster Manual doesn't come out until 2025, and so that was. I haven't heard anything about the layoffs affecting the release schedule, and again, the justification that I've seen makes perfect sense. Like you can't. They didn't want to release 5.2, then 5.3, then 5.4 of it
Yeah.
every time a new book came out. But anyway, love or hate Wizards of the Coast, this is a really good thing. Creative Commons is a really, really solid thing for people that want to be able to protect their work with copyright, but don't want the abuse of the copyright system that's been happening for 70 years at this point. And the fact that Wizards of the Coast keeps releasing their stuff in Creative Commons, for me, makes me very, very happy. And I think it's good for the hobby as a whole to have. I'd love to see more RPG systems releasing their content, their kind of base content in Creative Commons, because it just inspires more people to become game designers. Which is a good thing. Even if you're a bad game designer, trying it out and learning kind of the ins and outs of game design in general is always a good thing. I've learned so much more about D&D from making my own options than I ever had, even, doing DMing for as long as I have, and all the convention stuff that I used to do. So yeah. Cool stuff. Any other cool things happening in the world of tabletop RPGs? There's
Matt
new.
Koval, let Dale Kingsmill name your system.
Yes, Matt Colville, let Dale Kingsmill name your system. There's new Essence 20 books that came out beneath the helmet for Power Rangers and the Quartermaster's Guide to Equipment for G.I. Joe, of which I have both of them now, and we'll be doing in-depth reviews on them. The Marvel, was it Multiverse role-playing game is I think what it's called. They have an X-Men expansion coming out this summer, which looks to be really cool and interesting. Daggerheart has released their 1.4 version of the playtest rules, which I have not kept up with Daggerheart since the first public playtest, so I need to check out what the changes are again. But overall, to be perfectly honest, when did the public playtest come out? It couldn't have been more than 2 months ago, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
So it seems to me that they're updating the rules. It looks to be close to once a month, which is really impressive, to be honest. And takes a lot of work, guys. Anyone that has issues with the stuff that's happening with Daggerheart, whatever it is, the fact that they're responding to feedback and making changes so quickly is impressive for a game the size of Daggerheart. So yeah, I'm interested to see.
Well, when they put the call out to break our shit, you're. Oh, look, the tidal wave.
Well, and to be blunt, like Daggerheart, from the open beta, Daggerheart is a remarkably solid system. It's not a great system yet, but the core mechanics of it and the bones of the system are really solid. And it just kind of goes to show that the people they had working on this definitely knew what they were doing. And eventually, even the best game designers in the world will eventually get to a point where they have to let other people look at it to see what they can't see. So yeah, so cool stuff happening there that I'm very much excited about. I am, after making my first character in Daggerheart, and especially watching the Daggerheart one shot that they ran, I have not been more excited for a new tabletop RPG system since reading Matt Colville's stuff. Which, by the way, Matt, let Dale name your new system. So yeah, I'm excited about Daggerheart. I think it's gonna be really, really cool. I can't wait for them, because I don't. You guys can correct me, but I don't think they've announced if they're going to have an SRD or something similar to that for the system as of yet. But I sincerely doubt they wouldn't, just because of how Critical Role works.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I didn't hear anything about it, but I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
I don't think they've made any. Which, to be fair, they shouldn't be making announcements about homebrewing stuff when the system itself doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see what people do with the system once it is out. Because I think that'll be really, really interesting and fun. So, anyway, yeah, cool stuff going around. It also looks like, I think I've gotten confirmation, we will be playing Tears of the Realm on Saturday. So cool, interesting stuff happening there. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it here. The Cypher system has a new character builder, a free character builder on their Cypher Tools website. I've played around with it. It's a solid character builder. It's really, really nice. So if you've ever been curious about the Cypher system is what we use for Tears of the Realm, a modified version of it, but the Cypher system in and of itself, it's a super, super fun system. I've run one session of the Cypher system itself with, I think, both Imp and Daniel were in it, and I think Scott was too, right? Yeah. So it is one of my favorite systems. It is such a fun system to play around in, and it complements a lot of different genres really, really well. Like, I've seen them do a Star Trek style system. I've seen them do high fantasy, Lovecraftian horror, superheroes. Like, it's a really, really solid genre neutral system that can be kind of manipulated and changed to work in a lot of different situations. Probably second to only, probably Powered by the Apocalypse, as far as just being able to mold it into whatever you want. So it's fun. And again, I love just building characters. Like, it's one of my favorite things in the world, is just sitting down and building characters for hours upon hours. So anyway, check it out. Super cool, super fun. Anything else happening in the RPG world? I don't think so. If there is, say something in the comments or in chat or something. I think I've delayed this long enough. So, I think it's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has descended beneath the town of Middenwell. After discovering a miniature model of the city in a random mansion, they realized that the city itself seemed to be built upon the ruins of a forgotten city. So the party decided to descend beneath the city into a world of darkness. When they got there, they noticed that this area seemed to not work the way the rest of the world did. Physics seemed to be off. Magic spells didn't quite work the way they were intended. They explored this underground set of ruins until they eventually came to a toppled statue of the Dark Lord. When there, they started seeing flashes of what had happened to this city, none of which really made sense. The Dark Lord invoked some strange magic-like ability that seemed to defy laws of magic in nature. But then while they were there, suddenly bad things started happening to Relwyn. He started having difficulty breathing. He started having difficulty existing in this place, and it caused the party to leave in a hurry. When they arrived back above ground, they saw their newest acquaintance, the only person in Middenwell that seemed to have any emotions whatsoever, the shopkeeper. But then his wife came out, suddenly full of emotion and life. And that is where we return. So,
I'm just always going to remember him as Shopkeeper Yoder. Hey,
yeah, them things there, hey, that's what you do. It's one of those accents that never shows up in D&D or in RPGs in general, because everything in fantasy world is always British. But I really think we need those Upper Peninsula Michigan folks. Like, they need to start showing up in these fantasy settings, because, it's all cool and all that you can go and shoot the fireballs and things like that. But have you ever made like a hot dish that fed like an entire funeral procession? Like, that's real magic right there. Yeah, hey.
I want that as the big bad villain.
The Dark Lord is no longer, I am the Dark Lord. It's like, oh, so you guys came here and you're trying to like kill off my castle. That's not going to work, okay? So
Curse of Strahd, vastly different.
I think going forward, every time.
Oh yeah, I cast Heroes Feast. We got Jesus potatoes.
every time I run anything involving Strahd, he's going to be a Youper from now on. Yes. Oh yeah. So Esmeralda, I hear you're trying to get those Raven people to come and overthrow my castle. Well, that's just simply not going to work, okay? I'm slowly trying to add different things. In my other campaign, I finally used a slightly German accent because I never get to use it, and that was fun. So, too many accents. So, it's been a little bit, it's been a while since we've been able to play because my health has sucked. So I need a slight refresher. I think I covered everything we had in our last session, right? You guys went underground. You saw the vision. I think it was through the grim psychometry that you guys saw that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then bad shit happened to Rowan. And then when you came up, the shopkeeper's wife came out and she was speaking normally.
They were actually having a back and forth. She wasn't being monosyllabic, yes, no, binary.
So, and that was where we ended last time, right? Okay.
Yep.
So, as you guys are looking around, another thing that seems to have changed while you guys were down there, every other time that you've been in the town since arriving, the town has effectively been a ghost town. Like, people are here, but they don't seem to be leaving their houses or anything like that. However, after seeing the shopkeeper go out and have that conversation with his wife, you're starting to notice people walking around. There's not a lot. It's still significantly less populous than it was the last time you guys came through Middenwell. But you're seeing people walk around. The vast majority of them kind of look like NPCs that they forgot to give AI scripts to. They're just kind of walking around blank-faced. But people are walking around, so it's a definite change. What would y'all like to do?
Rowan's catching his breath.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's up to you guys.
You guys can see, like, some of the color is starting to return to Rowan's features. He looked bad when you guys first brought him out of there, because underground, everyone kind of looked black and white. A lot of you were relying on dark vision and stuff like that. So bring him above ground, it almost looked like you were still looking at him in black and white. Like all the color had faded from his skin, from everything. He looked horrible. His cheeks had started kind of sinking in, and
Which is impressive because Rowan has blue-gray skin.
yeah. So he looked really, really bad. And now that you guys have been up for a few minutes now, he's looking significantly better. The color's returning to his skin. His features are becoming more lively. Rowan, you specifically, your breathing is becoming easier. The kind of sickness in the pit of your stomach has almost completely vanished.
Hey, Relwyn. What the fuck was
Yes.
that?
I don't fucking know. I'm not going to lie and say I'm not a little pissed off that I appear to be the only one affected by it.
That seems odd.
Yes, I thought so too, especially the sharp needle pain behind my left eye.
You're sure that's not just because of me?
Unless you did something again.
I've been known to have that effect on people.
I'm pretty sure you make people's eyes twitch.
That's it.
Have definitely noticed the upkeep, and so we go down, we interact, we come back up.
No,
So it's like someone reset the stage.
maybe either we got too close to something, and maybe whatever's behind this, we either interrupted it, or whoever's behind it doesn't want us poking around anymore, has maybe turned it off.
Well, whatever the reason is, I don't know if we're. Do we have a game plan for this, or should we consider going? Was it going south now? I don't think I don't think there's gonna be a caravan.
See what's going on with these people. I mean,
Well, they also, I think the read also might be they're. I don't think these are the same people you encountered from last time, or maybe they were the whole time. I mean, if you want to investigate this, we can. I have this uneasy feeling about the taxmen coming.
well, I think that we want that. This is the reason I want to be set up for it. We feel, I mean,
Hmm.
You guys are outside the shop. You're basically just outside the hole that Argenta dug, which he dug kind of behind the shop to be away from prying eyes. So you guys are effectively... the shop is on the edge of a kind of town square. And there's an inn across from the shop that you guys have gone to before, and then there's other kind of businesses around this area, and there's also a few residences as well. So you guys, if we're saying like this is the town square, you guys are like right over here. So you're just barely off of it in an alley, which apparently is where all of my adventures take place. Is in some sort of an
It's always
alley.
a fucking alley.
Do we need to do something about this whole?
Well,
And it's a big hole. It was created using Move Earth,
Old Earth,
so it's
yeah.
a big 5-foot hole.
It'd be up to Argenta if you can cover that back up.
I mean, the main problem is that the dirt was packed until I did that, and now it's not packed, and so that part, she just kind of points to the part where it drops in, is going to be the issue.
Vala just takes out a tent and starts covering the hole with the tent.
You've got enough.
I mean, there are stakes that can hold it securely on the edge. If somebody gets in, it'll be like a hammock. They just got to be careful not to put too many people in, or else. Man, this tent is great. It's like it's floating on air.
I sense a wrongful death lawsuit in your future.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Vala has like a punch card of the.
If I get one more, I can...
I will.
You get one more, you get a warrant for your arrest.
Wait, the stars.
Vala's never been able to get under 4 stars in like a decade at this point. She was born with 3 stars.
God, it's like in Lupin the Third, except instead of being chased by that Interpol guy, it's Smokey the Bear.
Oh.
Only you can prevent for... Fuck Vala! I really like that kind of headcanon of Smokey the Bear's just going around, talking to kids. Only you can prevent forest fires. What about her? Damn it! Why does that bear have a shotgun? When did bears learn how to use shotguns?
Dark gritty reboot of Smokey the Bear.
Didn't somebody do that?
Yeah.
No, they had a dark gritty reboot of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Honey and blood.
I will never understand people that have to take something so
Because they
wonderful
can.
for children and turn it into really bad horror. Like, you want to make a horror thing? Put some effort in. Anyway. So, as you guys have been sitting here, again, you're seeing people kind of wandering around, and for the most part, they seem, again, like NPCs that haven't been given their AI scripts yet.
Can we hear about way?
They're not speaking at all. The only ones that are speaking is the shopkeeper and his wife, and their conversation is ended. Every so often, you'll see the shopkeeper like accidentally bump into someone. He's like, "Oh, sorry about that, pal," and then keep going. But they don't seem to respond. And while you guys
Now,
go ahead.
I forget my full goal with the undead right? Is that way about it? Is something?
Um, you haven't found any quote unquote undead here. When you guys are up in that uh, graveyard where the walking house used to be, you found kind of the opposite of undead. Um,
Found unpeople,
yeah,
Yeah.
beyond people.
where instead of being powered
So,
by undeath, they were powered by kind of an excess of life.
Pink
And that's the
ghouls.
only thing that you found, quote unquote, undead related.
so
Other than that,
my,
those body parts in the mansion.
so my sword isn't reacting at all.
No,
Alright.
not that you can tell.
In pretty much every instance, there's been a complete absence of undeath
Yeah.
and undead.
I could get up and, what was the quote it was that I see? The, see it, they react to me at all.
Sure. So as you kind of get up and start walking, this young woman, probably in her early to 20s, is walking around. She has a basket on her arm that currently has nothing in it. And as you walk up to her, she just continues walking. If you attempt to kind of get into her path, the first time it happens, she'll kind of bump into you and then move around. And then if you continue trying to do it, she will just kind of move around you without really acknowledging you.
I'll say, I'll point to the shop. You going shopping today?
Just keeps on walking.
Um, what happened if I just went to tap her on the shoulder?
She doesn't really respond. Like you can tap her and poke her, and she just kind of continues doing what it is that she's doing. Every so often, you watch her kind of stop next to an open, just a random spot. She'll kind of stop for a moment, and then get moving again. And then she'll stop for a moment. If you want to roll a history check, you might be able to figure out what she's doing.
Uh, uh, there wasn't be anything for attachment related.
No.
Alright. That would be 14.
Okay. So, as you're seeing her, she keeps stopping in very particular spots. She'll go and she'll stop at another spot. Sometimes she'll come back to roughly about the same spot and stop again. And so there's obviously a pattern to her movements, and something about it seems very familiar to you. You don't quite understand why. And then it just kind of clicks. The last time you guys were here, again, this was still, none of the buildings have moved. Like, the buildings still existed where they were the last time you guys were here. But the town square that you guys were in was significantly more lively because there was a bunch of kind of temporary stalls and carts that were set up in various places around here. and you realize she's stopping right around where a few of those temporary stalls and carts used to be.
Are there any signs of them? Like,
No, they're just empty space right now. However, from a kind of business perspective, if you did want to set up shop in a place like this, those are good kind of prime real estate spots. So it would make sense if someone were to set up a temporary shop here, those would be nice spots to choose. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
I'll kind of walk around town and see what other patterns people are engaging in.
Okay. Why don't you roll? I'll let you choose perception or insight. Or investigation, whichever one of those you like the best.
What do I'll do investigation.
Okay.
23.
Alright, so kind of watching them without even thinking about it, you start you take out kind of a scrap of paper from your pack and just start making some generalized observations. And there's not a ton of people around, but they all seem to be following a similar pattern of, for lack of a better term, running errands. Like each person will leave their residence and they will go to specific places that, were this a fully thriving town, would be places that would be fairly normal for someone to go. Like you'd watch one person go over to the inn and stay in there for a decent amount of time and then come out as if they had just gone to go get breakfast at the local tavern. Another person would kind of mimic what the young woman you had followed done, would go over to various places in stop as if they were shopping. There were a few that would go out and just stand in these spots for relatively short periods of time compared to what you think they should have been doing. But effectively, it looks like they're going out and they're standing in the spot that they would be to set up their shop. And then they would go back to their house after standing there maybe for about 10 or 15 minutes. Whereas if they were actually setting up shop, first of all, they would have done it much earlier. And second of all, they would have stayed there for hours. But they all seem to be doing kind of rudimentary versions of things that you would expect people that have a a routine would normally do. You guys in particular have not really had a routine in a long time. But for normal people, routines are routine.
Yeah.
That's how they work. So, yeah. So this whole process takes you the better part of about half an hour to kind of get a full read of it. For the rest of you, while Lilliane is doing her detective work, what do you guys want to be doing?
I mean, I'll pull out the just because Argenta keeps trying this token, the sanctuary token of the general of control,
Mm-hmm.
and just walk up to one of these people that are milling about and see what happens.
Again, anytime you approach them, they won't really interact with you, but they will they will react to you to the point of
Like walking around.
yeah, walking around you and stuff like that. Like if you attempt to impede them, they will take action so that they can go back to their routine, if that makes sense. I don't think any of you guys have tried anything more than like poking or standing in front of them.
Well,
Right.
Relwyn would point out when I tried to upset the order of operations in regards to making everyone breakfast, it got it was getting a little intense there for a moment. They didn't like that too much to the point of en masse encouraging me to leave.
Vala will Vala goes out and looks for a young man.
Mm-hmm.
Goes up to him
It's
and
not that kind of game.
Since when?
I'm just looking for a reaction. Gonna go up to them and then
Do what?
she's lifting her shirt.
Oh,
She's flashing them
nothing.
to see if there's any reaction.
No. Unless you physically get in their way, they do not acknowledge you. And even if you do physically get in their way, the most that they acknowledge is they will change their path. And again, very similar to what happened with Liliane, the first time it happens, they just kind of stop. Like they'll run into you, they'll just kind of stop what they're doing. And then every time after that, they will actively move to avoid you to continue their work. But the first time you interact with anyone, there's this kind of glitch that happens, for lack of a better term.
So, Jody,
Mhm.
just to play with the glitch, Argenta's going to be playing that game, seeing how long she can keep it up, of where you're walking in front of a stranger and you go to both pass each other, but you pass in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
She's just going to keep doing that with one of them to see what happens.
Okay. Remarkably enough, depending on how long you want to keep going for it, you would expect them to eventually get frustrated or try something new. They don't. They just keep kind of moving to try and avoid you. And it never gets... Like, if you want to do it for the entire 30 minutes that Liliane is doing her observations, they will continue to do the same thing for 30 minutes. I'll let you choose how long you want to do that for.
Like 5 minutes, and then
Yeah.
I'll let them go. Yeah.
So yeah, for 5 minutes, like again, no frustration, no anything like that. They just keep, trying to walk around you, and every time it fails, they will choose another direction. And does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vala is going to take a moment and cast Detect Thoughts.
So casting, because detect thoughts is technically you're casting on yourself, right? Because it gives you the ability to detect other people's thoughts, right?
Yes.
Okay. So casting it works fine, other than because one of the other things is you can kind of sense when there's a mind around, right? Okay. So if you attempt to detect thoughts on any of the people just wandering around, the spell doesn't work in the same way as if you were to try to cast or use the active aspect of detect thoughts on a rock. You can't target a rock, you have to target a creature. Does that make sense? However, you can sense the shopkeeper when he's in a place where you actually have line of sight, because I think you still need line of sight for it to work.
I think so.
Or at least just line of effect. Let's put it that way. You need line of effect. So when he's not inside a building, you can tell that he has a mind that you could detect. And in the brief instant in the 30 minutes that the wife of the shopkeeper kind of shows her head outside of the shop, you can detect her. But that's it.
Guys, I don't think they're people.
How long does it last again?
I think a minute.
A minute. Okay. Then yeah, that's what you get.
Now when I touch the young lady, did she feel like a foreign body
Oh, definitely,
was there?
definitely feels like a human. You know, she feels real. She has skin. Her skin has temperature. Like she's not cold to the touch or anything like that. There is nothing that would indicate that she wasn't human, other than her complete lack of interaction.
Uh,
Um,
We can hold one of them for a minute. I can try casting Identify. But that seems unlikely.
Argenta will just that one that she was keeping up for the 5 minutes.
mm-hmm.
She's just gonna try and like lift them, like you do a little kid, but just like a foot off the ground.
Okay. Uh,
Leanne can do her thing. Not Leanne,
as
Vala.
you as you lift her, at first not a whole lot happens. Like she continues walking, like she was still on the ground, for a few seconds. But as soon as kind of the realization that she's no longer on the ground and she can't do anything happens, uh, it's like a switch is flipped in the town. All action in the town stops, and any of these, I'm just going to refer to them as NPCs right now. So any of the NPCs, so that is just a term that means anyone other than the shopkeeper and his wife. So any of the NPCs that are currently on in the town square stop what they're doing, and they all turn to look at you, Argenta. You're not doing anything right now, but they're all looking directly at you. Like even when you were walking in front of people, they were looking through you. Like no one was really making eye contact. No one was really even acknowledging that you were there, other than, something that was stopping them from moving forward. They'd never really look at you. Now, everybody is looking at you.
I'm going to begin casting Identify.
Okay. You're going to try to ritual it, or you're just going to cast a spell?
Oh, I'm just casting it,
Okay.
which I believe takes 1 minute.
Okay.
I believe.
As you start attempting to cast the spell, after about 30 seconds of Argenta kind of holding this woman so that you can cast the spell, people start moving towards Argenta. Not an aggressive pace or anything, but they're now walking directly towards Argenta. And just doing very, very simple math in your head, you think that they're probably going to reach Argenta before you have time to complete the spell. Like you'll still have about 5 to 10 seconds left of the casting by the time they get to Argenta.
Well, Identify as touch. I think Vala would be there too, right?
Yes, but they are specifically going towards it. They seem oblivious to Vala.
Told you they didn't like that. I don't think they still like that.
Fine.
Paula is just going to continue casting.
Okay.
Put her down, but block the way. See if they back off.
I'm just gonna hold her.
Okay. So when the first people kind of get over to you, Argenta, you're an incredibly strong woman. We have established that throughout this campaign. So when I say their strength surprises you, I want you to fully understand what I mean by that. When they get to you, they immediately grab, because if I understand what you're saying correctly, you've kind of put her down on the ground, but you're still holding on to her, right? So she can't leave?
More or less.
Okay. So the places that you are holding on to her, people will grab your wrist and you instantly feel pain as they're squeezing your wrist really, really tightly to the point where you can feel the carpals kind of popping and snapping as they're kind of pushed together. Nothing breaking, but an extremely uncomfortable, very vice-like grip. And then they'll put a hand on her and they will start to try to rip your hand away from her. And they're doing this simultaneously. Like, both of your hands are held by two different people. They grabbed at the exact same time, grabbed you the exact same place, using the exact same amount of force. And I'm going to have you make a strength saving throw.
A strength saving throw.
Yes. We don't get strength saves too often, but when we do.
That's gonna be a 18.
Again, you are very used to being the strongest person in the room. So when these people grab onto you with a grip stronger than you think you could have if you tried, and then they start pulling away, you instantly, like, you feel your barbarian strength kind of coming to you. You're like, no, this ain't happening. And so you hold on a little bit tighter, and suddenly you are no longer holding this girl. She is ripped from your grasp with a strength that both impressed and scared you.
Like, to be fair, it's 3-on-1.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And like I said, you understand force, you understand the application of strength and kind of the physiology of how to get leverage with your body, how to use muscles in concert with themselves to get the most out of your strength. Like, all of that is kind of part of your kind of combination ranger barbarian training. You know how to get the most out of your body. These people have done nothing. There's your understanding of how physiology works. It's not possible for them to have done what they did. They have far too much strength, and they weren't using proper lifting techniques, nothing. But as soon as you are no longer holding them, they continue holding onto your wrists until she is able to kind of walk away from you. And as soon as she's away, they let go and they go back to what they were doing. I will say, in the time it takes for them to wrest control, you are able to complete casting your spell, and you get nothing. It's like you just identified a rock.
Now, when you say it's like I identified a rock, it's like I identified an object and not a person? Or would I be able to tell the difference?
Because identify can be cast on people or objects. You can use identify to identify magic items too, right? But you can also cast on a person to see what spells are affecting them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I thought. So, yes, this very much feels like you just identified an object rather than a person.
Okay.
If it does anything other than mundane.
Yeah, I mean, if I cast it on an object, if it's a magic item or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement, how many charges it has.
You basically get the card that explains the spell or the magic item.
If it's a creature, I get to know what spells, if any, are currently affecting it. So
I would assume during your career as a vigilante, you probably found something that you thought was magical that wasn't, that you tried to identify. Same basic feeling. You know, it's a pretty ring, but there's nothing magic about it.
So I will let the others know that there's no magic spell on it. I think I'm going with it.
I would point out we've also identified that there is a type of magic we are not familiar with that has been coursing through this place. We ran into that down below. We've pretty much confirmed that. Someone's been playing around with magic unlike the traditional forms anyone is aware of, whether I'm from here or you seem to be from another world. Everyone get used to that. Um, it seems to be an entirely different form of magic.
Right.
If Rowan or Vala, if either of you guys want to make an Arcana check, to kind of
Well, I think
theorize about this.
Well, I think we came up with that last time with the previous.
Well, yeah,
encounters.
I'm saying if you make an Arcana check, I'm going to tell you more.
Oh, okay. Not really my bailiwick. Of course, yeah. Here, roll the one. Never mind. Not my strong. Magic is not really my strong suit.
Vala?
Telling you those high level spells are just nonsense. 23.
23. Okay, yeah. So for you,
I rolled a 1, but I can cast a 9th level spell.
so yeah, may not understand this whole magic stuff, but I can cast ninth level.
I can cast a fucking sunburst.
It's like I can cast a spell that'll rewrite reality, so I can make it work the way that I want it to, whether I understand it or not. So yeah, Relwyn, you're relatively certain that this is more arcane bullshit, and you think that you and Argenta should have a powwow about the various principles of arcane bullshit. Vala, you have a slightly more nuanced approach to this. Looking this over, you start to realize that the identify spell works within the magic system that you are currently aware of. You know, the idea of the weave, and it effectively, what it does is it basically teaches you how an item or a person is connected to the weave. And as far as you can tell, whatever magic that you guys saw beneath Middenwell, for lack of a better term, is non-weave magic. It doesn't interact with the weave. It has no connection to... Because even arcane, divine, and nature-based magic, or primal magic, all are just different ways that they interact with the weave, but they all have to interact with the weave in order for magic to work. Whatever this new form of magic you guys can have discovered, it is non-weave magic, and because of that, this particular spell is designed specifically to see how an object interacts with the weave, and this magic doesn't interact with the weave. So you think that's probably why it's not working the way it's supposed to, because you're basically using like a C+ compiler to interpret Java. It's just not designed to do that. So it's not like there's no magic going on here. It's non-weave magic.
And to be clear, blood magic also operates on the weave.
All magic that you are aware of somehow interacts with the weave. The thing with blood magic is because of how it works, it also has the possibility of damaging the weave. Which if you're not really into the kind of the science of magic, you just know that blood magic is dangerous. But if you actually start learning about how it interacts with the weave, it can cause warps, it can cause tears and things like that can damage the weave, and that's why it is as dangerous as it is. But it's still, all magic interacts with the weave, other than whatever it is that this stuff is.
So I will relay that to the others. I think this is more of that non-weave magic. If that even could be a thing. Because I identify it goes to the very heart of how magic works, how the weave interacts with the world, and the world interacts with the weave, and this whatever is going on here doesn't interact with the weave, so it doesn't exist.
Well, it exists. We just don't know how to perceive it.
We vote on Civil War. And we go the point of red column. Um, would do the NPCs remind me of red columns at all?
No, it's a good analogy. Go ahead and take inspiration for that. The thing with a flesh golem in general is effective, and this is just how golems work in general. Is you take an inanimate object and you use the weave to attach a sentience to the object, but it is kind of stitched into the object via the weave itself. And so golems and things like animated armor and stuff like that are intrinsically tied to the weave because the weave is what's keeping the sentience bound to it. And flesh golems in particular, again, use kind of a version of blood magic to do that and are very, very dangerous and unhealthy to do. This, again, the thing with golems in general is because they are animated by magic, magic is what is causing the locomotion. So, like with a flesh golem, it's not that the muscle fibers are getting messages from the brain and contracting and things like that. Actual magic is causing everything to move. And so, like, hamstringing a flesh golem doesn't technically work because it's not 100% using the muscle fibers the way they're meant to be used. I mean, it still is, but it isn't. These people are, as far as you can tell, with your very limited medical training, they're working the way people are supposed to work. There is nothing that would indicate that magic has animated them in the way that a golem would be.
They could be filled with that pink goo stuff.
You haven't tried cutting into them yet.
I was just gonna say, Vala pulls out a dagger and goes, "There's one way to find out."
And what's the point to that?
Science?
You don't know what science is, so stop.
I don't know what science is.
I know what medicine is, and that doesn't serve a purpose. Just cutting into something just because you want to.
I don't want to. I want to find out what's going on.
You want to.
I'm not a cutter.
As you
I
guys are
usually
having
like
this,
cauterizing wounds better.
as you guys are having this conversation, you hear another thing that in a normal town would make perfect sense, but here it makes your skin crawl a little bit. You hear the sound of children's laughter coming from a road going off of the town square. It's kind of faint because it seems to be relatively far away, but it definitely sounds like some kids playing.
Vala will start heading over there after putting her dagger away.
Okay. Are the rest of you going to follow Vala then?
Yes, because Vala going off on her own is never a good idea.
Suddenly you see fairies! As you guys kind of go down this side street, again, you're seeing the town itself slowly kind of awaken. You're seeing more people kind of wandering around, still NPCs. But eventually you can see there's a house. And in front of the house, there's a pair of kids. One of them has a wooden sword that they are pointing at the other kid, and the other kid is on the ground nursing an invisible wound with just a stick next to them. It's a long, very sword-shaped stick next to them, and you can see them going, ugh. And the one standing over goes, "Surrender, fiend! I have disarmed you!" And he's like, "No, I will never surrender. You can never stop me. I am the vigilante." And the kid goes, "I have saved this town from your evil. Die!" And kind of stabs the kid like under their armpit, and the kid goes, "Ah!" And then falls down dead.
Vala will just like walk up and go, "That's not how the vigilante would answer this," and use prestidigitation to make magical flames appear on the sword, or not on the sword, on the stick.
Okay. As you do that, the kids kind of jump, and as one of them sees their stick burning, the kid that was dying, you can see like tears start to well up in his eyes. He's like, "Oh, and he looks at you, and he just has this look of just pure betrayal and.
No. No. Vala will go and pick up the stick and go, no. It's fake fire. It's a trick.
And he just looks at you like you're nuts. And then they both just go, "Mom!" And a woman comes out, an NPC comes out, and she just kind of stands there next to them. And they have a conversation that you only hear half of. But, Ma. Yeah, I already fed them. No, we were playing Dark Lord versus the Vigilante. No. Fine. And they just kind of look at you. And the younger one kind of comes back and kind of looks at you holding his stick. And he kind of looks at his mom. He kind of waddles over with his head facing out. "We're sorry that we annoyed you. Can I please have my stick back, please?"
Vala will cancel the prestidigitation and say, "Here's this. You didn't annoy us, and hang on 1 second." And she will go into her bag and will pull out one of her masks
Okay.
and give it to the kid.
And he kind of looks at it, and he looks at his mom, and he goes, "I'm not supposed to take things from strangers," and then runs off. And the mom stands there for longer than feels appropriate. Without saying anything to you, she just kind of continues standing there. And then after probably about 3 or 4 minutes, she goes back into the house and shuts the door.
I'm just picturing Oblivion NPCs this whole time.
Effectively.
Rowan just looks at Vala. Ooh, she really let you have that.
Did you hear her say anything?
No, but the silence is palpable.
Yeah.
Rowan just went, "Didn't you?"
You're just Vala's sanity slowly goes away.
How long does Rowan get a chance to gaslight Vala?
She obviously cussed you out, Vala. That's why she stood there for a few seconds.
Oh, more like a few minutes. But Vala will go and set the domino mask, like on the next to the door.
Okay.
Put it next to the sword.
Oh, the kid took the sword in.
Yeah, he took his stick.
Oh, he did take it? Okay.
Yeah.
Vala pulls out her silvered rapier and leaves it there.
Yes, give the children weapons. That's what we need.
Who doesn't give a child their vorpal sword when they retire?
Totally.
Okay, that was weird. But those kids, more people are.
I feel that there there's a handful of people here that are, for lack of a better term, normal. And then there's the greater majority of people are not.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the people that are normal can't tell who's not.
I feel it's
but
more. It's kind of like someone's. I think it's someone's working on the script as we're. It's in real time.
let's
I
keep in
think we.
mind
I think we give this town enough time. There's going to be more script.
we know the shopkeeper's wife didn't she wasn't behaving as she is now. To your point about the script writing.
No, but prior to going into the hole,
She gave mostly
she
yes,
she
no answers.
she was a husk, and then post going into the hole, she was normal. So
Yeah. So I mean, like, ain't later, but I almost think we need to go back. We the people who are affected need to go back down there.
Yeah, but if,
we
well,
Well,
we
we
can't go back down. We're all
yeah, we
in.
can't all go back down.
well, I also point out. I just to ask the question, why? Why?
Yeah, there wasn't anything down there. Was the thing? It's just the old town.
Well, I mean, how do we know whatever causes it? Is it the statue or something like that?
Well, it seems to be this is the that was the previous town below, and they just decided to make a new town above.
Yeah, but the area around the statue would be behaving irregularly. How do we know it isn't related to whatever is going on up here?
I think it is related. I think it's the whole point. We've seen multiple examples of someone creating life and almost like it was an experiment. The house had was littered with corpses, and we go to a graveyard that's filled with unpeople, with an overabundance, I would say, of life, and now we've come to a town where people are. It's almost like a stage being set, and there's people are the script's literally being written as people are walking about. It feels almost like the entire thing has been one giant experiment into I don't know, the Dark Lord or someone else making their version of life.
I mean, another way to kind of look at this is most of these people are empty. What if they're being like given something? Because
What?
I mean, think about it. How I've dealt firsthand with this entity that seems to control life and death for the moment in this location. I know that Vala, you've interacted with them too. They seem to be able to hold on to the souls, and maybe that's connected.
Maybe souls is a bit beyond my expertise, but I know they don't seem to have thoughts.
I know from the visions I've been granted that people have been they are not being allowed to pass on. That's pretty much the reason why I am here and I'm with you. I can tell you from the multiple uh, visions I've taken into the spirit soul side of things, there is a complete absence of souls around in almost every aspect. Something is being done with the souls. I don't. I'm rather concerned about that. Very concerned about that. I just don't know if that's possibly the same thing. Maybe again, it could be they're experimenting with life in quotation marks as opposed to we've seen multiple versions of facsimiles,
Yeah.
not just in this town.
But somehow doing it without using regular magic. Some kind of non-magic. Some kind of impossible magic. These are impossible people.
Well, yeah, that's why we need to go back down. That you of the Dark Lord. They almost felt like something else. Not the something else that we imagine. I mean, the whole area was the golden and rising differently than the rest of the underground area. I mean,
Hmm.
and I almost feel like the something that Robert got was avoiding to stay away and to keep people from investigating the statue further.
Could be intentional. It could also be a byproduct. I wasn't able. Like, it hurt me to be down there over an extended period of time. It eventually affected me. One of you tried picking up the statue and it seared you.
Yeah, that was,
That was with direct contact. It's entirely possible that was the byproduct of whatever it is they've done here. It's so strong. That's probably the epicenter of what that they've been doing, creating an artificial town.
yeah, but it was, I mean, if that is the epicenter, why wouldn't we go back down there and try to stop whatever it caused?
As you guys are having this conversation, you notice a pair of NPCs walking towards you. They are dressed in armor, and they're both armed. One of them has a halberd, and the other one has a sword and shield, though the shield is slung on their back at this particular moment. As they walk up, the one with the halberd just stops next to you guys and stands there, while the one with the sword and shield goes past you, goes up to the house door, and stands there for a moment. And then you watch as the door opens and the mother figure stands there, and they both kind of just stand there in silence for a few minutes. And then the NPC guard turns around and looks directly at you guys and starts kind of wandering over and goes, can I ask why you're standing in this particular place?
We're just having a conversation. We weren't standing here for any particular reason.
Well, there's been some complaints, so we're just going to ask you if you're going to continue having your conversation, maybe have it somewhere else. There's a really nice tavern in the square over there. They've got great tables.
Sorry, apologies. My name's Vala. What's your name?
I am Mithrin. I'm a member of the city guard here, and like I said, we've had some complaints. I'm just trying to keep everyone amicable. So
We will move on. But does nothing seem odd?
well, a bunch of grown adults harassing children seems odd to me.
Not harassing. We heard their sound carried quite a far ways because everyone else is very quiet. Have you not noticed that?
He kind of looks around. Okay. Listen, I'm not here to argue. I'm just telling you, you need to move along. All right. If you move along right now, there's no issue. If you guys decide that this is the hill that you want to die on, then there will be an issue. So just move along, and everything will be fine. My understanding is, as of right now, you haven't broken any laws. But if you continue to stand here, you will be violating them, and then I will have to take action.
Paula just very sheepishly, like, yeah. You know what? Let's walk and talk, guys.
I walk the ball and I'm just like, it's not gonna be any use to talk to the people here, and if they're normal, they seem to feel everything else is normal, and they seem to have some sort of ability to communicate with the unnormal ones.
The guard had a very one-sided conversation with the mother.
Yes.
I will mention when he first approached, he was an NPC. And then after having the conversation, he is no longer. If I didn't make that clear.
So, well, after the conversation with the mother or after the conversation with us? How does he behave once we start walking along?
He seems normal. After he had the conversation with the mother, he went from NPC to normal.
Okay.
And if you guys walk off, you'll see him conversing with the other guard, who seems to be still an NPC.
Oh wow, we watched a husk get their soul.
You start listening for little bells ringing.
Well, I was going to suggest we never did find that the guy from the mansion, right?
I think he's
Yeah.
dead.
Well, we don't know for sure.
I think he ran off. We did take quite a bit of time before we were prepared to even get upstairs. Ample time for him to get away or hide somewhere very well.
Well, I'm just saying, if he's hiding in the house and something were to happen to the house, perhaps something slow that would give him time to escape. I burn the mansion down.
That's banking on if he is in the mansion. And there is a mansion. There is multiple ways to exit a mansion when it's on fire, a window or a door.
If we surround the house,
It's a mansion.
if we surround the mansion and he comes out through a normal way, we
It
can...
wasn't
A normal way.
Wasn't
if-
it better to get up and walk away again?
I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm just saying it's an idea. Has a 50-50 chance of success. Back to the tavern.
I don't. Again, I'm not saying this this isn't worthy of investigation. I'm just wondering to what point we are investigating this.
You're thinking we should just cut our losses and leave.
I don't see it as a loss. I see it as we've just witnessed a major clue with the information we have gathered. We witnessed the Dark Lord, and there seems to be maybe it's another general, or maybe it's a lieutenant in some fashion who's definitely, we know that there's someone out there who's capable of creating levels of this. I don't see that as a loss. I see that as further information.
And there's a schedule here. I mean, we try to it down that we want to be in the Dark War one way. I mean, when do we take the schedule down the road, whatever we
Our original
we
intent was to go to
would
Cloudscape.
have to face that hypothetical schedule eventually.
Maybe, maybe Rowan's right. Maybe we not necessarily cut losses, but take the information we've gained and move on to Glasgow. I just hope this doesn't. I just hope this doesn't come back to bite us. But
Who knows? Maybe if we find out anything in Cloudscape, that could be something for us to further context for Middenwell.
yeah,
There could be more clues there.
Yeah, I don't think we're able to fully comprehend what's going on here, but I also don't really think it's currently a bad thing. The bad thing already happened is more of what I'm seeing.
right.
Yeah, but I mean,
And if they're just becoming people over time, it's going to fix itself.
Because apparently, and for what was surmised before, what did happen originally, that happened. That actually happened well before you all came through.
Well, no, when we first came through, everyone was normal.
They appeared normal,
Good, no.
but Lillian's psychometry did reveal that this town was created long before that. It wasn't. We don't know like the happenstance with the druid and the happen in the order of operation. I mean,
Unless, of course, we got early access and the devs are scrambling because we weren't supposed to access this location, but they forgot to put in the invisible wall.
I'm guessing you're talking about extraplanar things. I don't know.
So there's this place where they're allergic to the number 3. They always do 1s and 2s, never a third thing.
Oh. But no, I'm not exactly sure if there's too much to be directly learned here.
yeah, I mean,
So what do y'all want to do?
I think
At this
we're
point,
gonna-
it's getting kind of late in the day. The sun's starting to get a little bit lower in the sky. It's not quite twilight, but it's definitely getting to the point where normally in a normal place you might start looking for a place to have dinner and then a place to lie down.
Do we want to sleep here?
I mean, I don't think we have much choice.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather sleep in an inn since we have at least several days travel down to Glassgate.
Yeah.
So we'll have a couple of
Uh,
nights roughing it and in the Webwood. Last time, that did not turn out entirely well for us. So, yeah, I think we should spend the night. Were we looking at, like, getting travel with a caravan?
We were hoping to get travel with caravan. Considering what goes in this town, I'd be very surprised if we saw a caravan. If there's people who are traveling not from here coming through, that's entirely possible. We haven't seen that yet, but who knows? Who knows? I wouldn't be
maybe
surprised.
in the boat as well.
Yeah, so I think we head to the tavern, spend the night, and then inquire about caravan tomorrow.
I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up the next morning and more script has been written.
Yeah, they do the midnight build and that.
Well, someone's definitely was writing a script and dealing with us.
I like to think that somewhere, when we eventually go after the Dark Lord and his keep, we open up a door and there's just some overworked dev in the basement.
Paula is definitely on the QA team working on finding unexpected bugs.
No,
Why would somebody go over there?
Oh, baby, computers with my 500 computers.
We even go into that room and there's just a dude in a suit and a chair who goes, "Yes, I am the architect."
Yeah.
Suddenly you guys all get trench coats and sunglasses.
I mean, Roland's kind of almost there.
And for whatever reason, the music goes from like swelling fantasy, like movie stuff, to heavy metal and pop punk.
People dancing in a cave.
So the benefit there is I can multi-class into monk, and then I will know kung fu.
All right, so you guys are able to. Getting a room is weird because again, like you go up and you ask for a room and nothing happens, but you put money down and the NPC does eventually take it, and there's no conversation. But you guys
Give us a key back.
Yes, you do get a key, and you have to basically go and keep trying the key over and over until you find a door that it fits in. But you guys are able to get some sleep.
At least it wasn't some god awful artificer thing that requires a card. Damn it.
And then it works, and then you're just not quite fast enough, and so it's like, oh, green light, and then you hit the door and it turns red. And you're like, damn it. So you guys are able to get some sleep. When you come downstairs the next morning, you are awoken to the smell of roasting meats and eggs and things like that and fresh bread. And when you finally come down, you see about half the tavern at this point seems to be normal people. There are still some NPCs that are just kind of sitting there mixed in amongst the normal people. But significantly more of the town seems to have kind of awoken over the night.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 a.m. patch came in.
Mm-hmm. You see a
Must
cat,
be Tuesday.
and then you see another cat. It could have been the same cat. So yeah, if you guys want to get breakfast, the food here looks to be adequately prepared. You know, it's kind of that.
It's still anemic is the thing that.
If any of you guys want to try the food, it's nothing like what Relwyn would cook. Let's put it that way.
Is the food quality still sucks?
It's better than it was. It's effectively kind of your like diner food.
Well,
You know,
what I mean,
it's
what I mean
cheap
is,
and filling.
what I mean is, the food still sucks because the ingredients still suck. Because they were still the ingredients were still less than because
Kind of, yeah.
an onion was still like a pearl onion. A potato was still kind of it was like barely a potato, and
It's better than the food that you guys have seen here thus far. It's still not what you would consider good.
yeah.
You know, it's adequate. If you eat it, you will get full. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is your basic kind of greasy spoon diner food. It ain't good, but it's filling and full of salt.
Salt.
If you can't cook, just put lots of salt in it.
No. Ketchup is not a food. No. Relwyn is going to go make something.
Okay. So, you're since you guys have a room, you are able to kind of use the facilities in the room itself to kind of come up with your own little makeshift kitchen. You're even able to use the vanity to basically create a place where you can create a small fire and cook things for, so that you don't have, unless you want to try and fight with them for a spot in their kitchen again.
I'm sure Vala can create a nice, small, contained fire.
I don't know, it's never been your MO. But yeah, you're able to cook a nice meal for your friends, and so you guys get your however many temporary hit points.
6.
6, yeah. So you guys get your 6 temporary hit points. And as you come out into the town, again, more of the town has awakened. But once you get out of the tavern, like in the tavern, it was roughly like half the people were awakened at that point. Once you get out of the tavern, it's closer to like maybe 20% of the town is starting to be awake, maybe closer to 15. If you look around for a while, you will not find any caravans going to or from Klausgate. Or anywhere. You guys have not seen people coming to visit Ilmorn or trade going out the entire time you've been here.
To be perfectly frank, with the things we've gotten up to and you've gotten up to, I don't think people would have reason to come down to Middenwell just yet.
Yeah. Well,
Can we?
Ilmorn's probably still restructuring, and Scornmote just went through a major shift.
Yeah, but we haven't messed up Klausgate yet.
We're on the way.
yeah.
So what do you guys want to do? You want to start heading towards Klausgate? Do you want to do more investigating around Middenwell?
I think we're gonna try to see if we can hire a wagon or buy a wagon, rent a wagon.
As far as you can tell, the people that are running kind of the Teamsters here have not awoken yet. So hiring or becoming a part of a wagon or trade convoy is not an option you guys currently have.
Okay. So we're gonna have to hoof it.
If you guys want to wait here for... You're not 100% certain because it's not following a kind of predictable path as far as how quickly people are waking. But if you guys want to chill until the entire town awakens, you might be able to hire someone or get hired on as caravan guards. But at this point, there's no real way to predict how long that would take.
That's if
You
someone
know
bothers writing lines for people to leave and go to another one of the towns. We could try mimicking out buying a horse. But aside from that, we just travel.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how we got here.
Yeah.
I am fine with it if you guys want.
Yeah.
I don't think it worth it to sit about your reasons. I swear we do want to investigate more, but it sounds like we're not going to at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we just walk.
We could steal horses.
Yeah, I guess we're walking.
Thievery.
Okay. So, as you guys leave Minwell, the further away from it you get, as strange as it sounds, because you didn't really notice the feeling while you were there, but the further away you get from it, the more kind of normal the world starts to feel. And by the time you are a full day's journey down, which on foot, getting to the Webwood is about roughly a 2-day journey. And the Webwood itself will take about a day, and then another day past that will get you to Klossgate. So at the end of the first day, the world is starting to feel the way it's supposed to, if that makes this a sense. You didn't realize just how unreal that city felt until you had left it. Unfortunately, though, that is where we're going to end it for today. As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/ChurchofTrainerJody. As a reminder, please check out Essential Essence 20. It is my new series covering character options from the Essence 20 system, and it's super cool and fun, and I'm very proud about it. Otherwise, again, that is all for me today, and I will see you guys in the next time. All right? Bye-bye.